Hello there. So, Mark of the Fool, Book 2. And yeah, I'm following the story. I'm getting really in because I like the fact that the lead character, not the lead character, the dean of the school has been the dean of the school since the school was basically founded. He's, I guess, thousands of years old. And one thing I've always found interesting in books is like when they start establishing characters who are so overpowerful, they can literally solve everything, but they don't. But why don't they? It would be so easy for them to just show up and take care of all the evils in the world. And here they have someone who literally is all powerful. And the benefit of the issue with knowing everything and seeing everything is, well, you realize that the same things keep happening over and over and over again, that it's more, you give up on it. What he finds, what the person who's so old, the dean or the whatever of the school finds so great is he loves learning new things. And no matter how old he gets, there's always something new, always something exciting. So that's what he takes joy in. Because here the main character is trying to think, oh, he'll help me solve the problem of what's been happening in his kingdom for 500 years or so. But he's been alive longer and doesn't care because I'm pretty sure there was something that happened before that. He's seen territories changed. It's just, they're characters. I like how it in my mind, they didn't say all that, but in my mind, it read as that. It felt as that. And honestly, I got to say, that was a nice way of doing it because you can tell that he's been around for far too long. The little squabbles of short-lived mortals, which I guess he would be considered immortal, but he just became too powerful to die. So it's a fascinating, interesting thought process to go into, where the long-lived, what makes them more hesitant to help out is because, well, they've seen the same thing happen over and over again. They've probably did support in the beginning, but after the first several hundred years where it kept doing the same exact thing, at what point do you give up? But that's just a little tidbit of the story that I enjoyed, because normally they just have these overly powerful creatures, overly powerful beings that just decide not to assist. Not whether they're, because of course a lot of the fantasy books have gods that show up in person, but here they have beings, humans, creatures that have lived long enough, that have gained the power to destroy an entire mountain at the snap of their fingers, yet they don't do anything to assist. And it's just like, I like how they're doing it here. I really do feel like it carries more weight. However, yeah, you follow the lead character, you follow him throughout his story, and I like the fact that they introduced it where there's a romance. Because normally it's like the romance is thrown in during the story, but here it kind of starts out with it. In the first book, that starts out with a joke about it, and then here it continues on. There are little nuances throughout, and I kind of like that, because you can tell the two characters like each other, but they're afraid to admit it to each other because they don't know if the other one's gonna. So it's fun watching that and seeing it. I like the fact that the daughter, because at the very end of the sister, at the very end of the last book, she finds out that she has fire magic. However, she's in a difficult situation. Her parents were burned in a house fire, so she says she hates fire. However, she feels conflicted because she finds fire beautiful. There is a beauty in it. However, she's always claimed to hate it because it took her parents away. And the problem is the brother doesn't understand how to let her know that there is beauty in it. There is something good in fire. I like the little nuances there, because she's like literally feeling like she has to hate it, even though she finds beauty in it. Why does she find beauty in it? It took her parents' lives, but she was like 4 years old when that happened. So she's very conflicted because she's like 11 now, and I like the little dynamics. I like the family dynamic. I like the friend dynamic. I like the coven dynamic. I like the extra, all the coven members, the 4 coven members, all there. People, I like how it's going about, because it feels like they're building to something good. And I was thinking the first book would be a first year of school. No. The first book is the first semester. The second book is the second semester. And I guess book 3 will go on into next year. So with 2 books, 2 real long, good, detailed really filled with a lot of magical education, which I honestly truly did enjoy. There's something about sitting down and going through a book where the character is actually going to class. The character is actually dealing with instructors. The character is actually doing special curriculars. It's like basically following Hermione instead of Harry and Ron. You're following Hermione as she's doing her things because she's the more educated one. She's the one that actually cares about this stuff. It's fun listening to the fact that there are people who are so good about their belief, and then the dean of the school literally hates belief in itself because they don't do anything for their people. It's interesting because here the main character has the mark that he's scarred by his deity that literally is a curse. It's a curse mark that doesn't allow him to defend himself. That doesn't allow him... He can protect himself because he's taught himself how, but he can't fight to defend those he cares about. I mean, there's no greater curse than that. So, of course, the dean basically assists him as soon as he finds out. But I enjoy the fact that the mark basically tries to convince him otherwise. I don't think it's entirely him. I'm pretty sure it's the mark that literally tries to convince him not to confide in others, not to talk to others. The mark is trying to protect itself. Trying to protect, because they're introducing that there's this huge mystery behind the kingdom. There's a secret behind the kingdom. With the dungeon cores, there's a secret behind the entity that keeps respawning after every few millennia or whatever it is. It's absolutely, I'm all for it because yes, the corruption that bleeds, that I mean, is their god the one that does it all? Is he the Ravener? The Ravener? Is he the one that is actually doing it? Why? Because it does nothing but bleed into him getting worshipped on one end and getting power on the other. It's just very interesting how it's showing that there's a lot of lies being told within his own nation. How can he discover it? How can he help in the fight even though he deserted? I mean, a lot of little things that I absolutely love in the story. The characters are fun to go through, follow along with. The fact that they go on to, it doesn't feel like, so there's just one character that it seems like he's going to be a rival. He's going to be the Draco Malfoy. They get a job together because, and he already knows that this guy's will take advantage of any situation. Something happens and this guy blames him immediately, blames the main character. And like literally 2 chapters later, this guy is gone. This guy is gone, and it seemed like he would be a main facet. He was there in the first book. He ended up getting kicked out of one of the classes and had to transfer. He got a job at the same place that he was wanting to get a job at, only for it to be inconsequential because it shows the frailty of humanity. It shows the frailty of even being a powerful mage or whatever, wizard or spellcaster. It shows that there's always someone, and life is fickle, and it really does lean into giving the main character, making him make his decisions for him, because something happens and he's like, okay, I've got to come clean on a few things. I like that. It wasn't like this simple, oh, we need to have a Draco Malfoy character. Let's bring him in and he'll constantly be there pestering him. Sure, they still got another one but he's not a main focus. He tried to cheat off the main character, but eventually stopped and went to go do something else. Is he a cheater? Did he change his ways? There are a lot of little things that are there, but at the same time, I don't care. I like the fact that it's not putting focus on it. I like the fact that it's like, oh, here's your Draco Malfoy, but this story doesn't need him. It doesn't need him. We've got far more things to focus on, and I like that because honestly, this book is huge. It was a fun read. Honestly, if you put them both together for 1 year, it'd be massive. It'd be absolutely massive. And they're just like, yeah, we don't need the Draco Malfoy. This would add way too many more scenes, way too many more situations that we don't need to worry about. So they get rid of him, and it worked. It absolutely worked. The fact that he kept telling himself like, oh, I can't tell people this, I can't tell people this, only to finally come clean with everyone because he's encouraged to in the end. And the fact that everyone gets much closer together. I was thinking someone would, there's one scene that kind of felt off, but I was thinking that someone would betray him. There's this one thing where this demon was summoned in the schoolyard, which had both fire, ice kind of blueprint. left behind, and in one of the main classes, the fighting class, he learned there are these people that use ice, fire, as a group. And literally, he had this inkling that it could possibly be them. At one point in time, he hands over his badge to one of those people, and immediately I was like, no. Good thing was, it wasn't the main badge for the dean's office or the dean's workspace, but it was his own. And I'm just like, that just seems a little suspect. But yeah, because this story, I absolutely find fascinating. The fact that the Ravager, yeah, the main bad guy isn't the main bad guy. He's like this echo in the background. He's no real focus. He created these creatures to go hunt the main character, and they weren't even in it till the very last part of this. Like, they were introduced in the first book, at the very end of the first book, and they were taken care of at the very end of the second book. I find that absolutely enjoyable, because throughout you're absolutely enjoying him going through the classes. It's the classes. It's him learning. Everything else takes primary focus. Not so much the big, evil Voldemort. He's a nobody. He's a nobody. He's just off in his own kingdom, sending little peons to go do the dirty work. No, he apparently can't leave his territory. But it's the classes, it's the learning, it's everything else that I absolutely find fascinating, because it feels like it almost comes across like a fantasy slice of life. And I am completely for that. Absolutely. But yeah, I definitely recommend the Mark of the Fool. I've enjoyed going through the first 2 books. I'm going to enjoy getting into the 3rd book. There are 4 books out so far, but hopefully this just keeps going, because heck, I was thinking it would be like, okay, the first 2 books would be 2 years, then it'll be 3 books, then it'll be 3 years. No, the first 2 books is just 1 year. Just 1 year. Oh, 1 year of the classes. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Doodles.